Hello all you panel pals and change show names to protect the innocent. I'm Jules Gill, the all-father of What Culture, joined by my little hellboy Ewan, and we're back with another episode of The Best and Worst Day.
What we do here is take a superhero villain or any other comic book character and detail their best and worst days in an effort to highlight what makes them tick.
Ewan takes the light side of things, and I, as you might expect, am always drawn towards the dark. Let us know which team you think won down in the comments below, but for now, let's crack on with everyone's favourite red leather leaper, Daredevil. Now, as you might expect for a person riddled with this much Catholic guilt, poor old Matt Murdock has experienced a lot more negativity than happiness in his life in his time as a superhero, as life certainly has been a Murdick to him more often than not. Case and point, his worst day, which comes in the form of Born Again. Now, many consider this to be one of the best Daredevil stories ever told, and it's easy to see why. First up, mad bastard Frank Miller was at the helm, the man who'd put Daredevil back on the map in his first run as writer for the acrobatic hero, and second, because this might be one of the darkest, most depressing, and altogether bleak moments in any superhero's career. What kickstarts the story is a snapshot of pure grime, in which Karen Page, former secretary of Matt Murdock, sells the real identity of Daredevil for a shot of heroin. It's an act which sets a tone of the piece as being one that will not pull any punches, and it's quite horrible to witness. This information finally makes its way to the Kingpin, who uses every connection he can to torture Murdock. This leads to Volume 1, Issue 228, entitled Purgatory, which is the moment in which everything comes to a head. Matt Murdock's accounts have been frozen. He's had a police officer testify against him that he's been paying witnesses to lie, and to top it off, he's lost his girlfriend to his own law partner, Foggy Nelson. But things get even worse. After all these things, you can maybe bounce back from, but that's exactly when Kingpin pulls the trigger and firebombs Matt's home. It suddenly hits Matt. It's not just a series of bad events. He's being targeted. He's been exposed. As his apartment burns, so too does his life. And his costume being placed on top of the wreckage is a mocking gesture from the villain to Matt saying, "Come and do something about it then." Now, I could go on to talk about how this is turned around, how this is not the end of the story, and in fact, Matt goes on to be, as the title suggests, born again, but this is his lowest point. Everything that gave Matt security and happiness is gone, and he's been let down by a former friend who basically was preyed upon by vices that permeate our society. It's one of the hardest moments not only for the hero, but for the reader as well, as what would you do if your life wasn't just rocked, but systematically dismantled? There is no point lower than this for Matt Murdock, but it's a necessary one, as out of this crucible of fire comes a stronger, more resilient hero. But goddamn, was this the worst day of his life?
Which brings us to Matt Murdock's best day. You see, Mark Waid and Chris Samnee's Daredevil was a lot of things. Uplifting, stunning, and revitalizing, but it was also revolutionary. It departed from decades worth of storytelling precedent and depicted Matt Murdock as he used to be, a swashbuckling, energetic, and happy man who reveled in superheroics. The genius of this approach, however, laid in the fact that Waid didn't opt to ignore the character's history. Rather, Murdock's happiness stemmed from a direct result from his past trials and tribulations, both figurative and literal. Yes, this isn't a day per se, but while it would have been easy to say Matt getting one over the Kingpin in, say, Last Rites was his happiest moment, it's important to remember that Daredevil is more than just his rivalry with Wilson Fisk. He has a life, a strong supporting cast, and a bevy of other worries to navigate. And even when everything seems completely hopeless, Waid and Samnee's Murdock still carries on, utilizing his new demeanor as a potent weapon in a long-running battle with misery. There's something uniquely empowering about seeing a figure like Daredevil, a character who's battled with depression for most of his adult life, come out on top in story after story, whether that be taking down Marvel's most menacing criminal syndicates, escaping from Latveria, or de-weaponizing his secret identity in the courtroom. It's why the comic has garnered such a reputation so soon after ending. So, in a way, Daredevil's happiest day actually came on an unassuming Wednesday in 2014, when Volume 4 commenced. It may not be as notable as Born Again, or even quite as influential, but it was equally significant. That, more than anything, enshrines its publication as one of the characters and his fans' greatest days.